Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today we are going to be sharing with you why the 4-2-3-1 is the best formation to use in FUT Champs. Now, I know this is maybe a little bit of a running theme where I say every formation is the best. You know, in my opinion, every formation is the best formation, but I do think the 4-2-3-1 is the best formation for FUT Champs. Now, for me, I like to use lots of different formations. I get really bored if I stay on the same formation, hence why we make lots of different tactic videos, because I'm really keen to try out lots of different formations, and I've got an absolutely sensational formation video coming up very, very soon, which you guys will absolutely love, hopefully. But today we're focusing on the 4-2-3-1 and why I think this is the best formation in FUT Champs. Now, I don't necessarily think is 4-2-3-1 the best formation in the game. That is very debatable. Some people say yes, some people will say no. But I do think, in my opinion, it's the best for FUT Champions. Now, why is that? Now, the reason why I think the 4-2-3-1 is the best formation compared to others and why I would put it on a higher pedestal is I think because you can play a multitude of styles very successfully. Now, this FIFA, there isn't necessarily a one way to play. You can play lots of different ways in FIFA and have success, unless you are at the absolute top echelon of FIFA, and I imagine there's very few of those people, if any, watching this video. So the most people that are watching this FIFA are just FIFA players, casual FIFA players, not trying to sweat and try hard. Now, in a 4-2-3-1, you can play lots of different styles. Now, FUT Champs is all about adaptability. It's all about changing on the fly. And in the 4-2-3-1, you can do that. Now, the reason why is those different play styles. You can play defensive. If you want to play defensive and play really deep, you can do that. It's a compact formation. You can play high possession. You can play tiki-taka because it's a compact formation. All the players, as you can see, are quite close together, so you can play that. You can play, obviously, the defensive counter-attacks if you have lots of pace. You can bang through balls up through the wide cams or the fullbacks or whoever it may be. You can play chip through balls. You can play pretty much every style of FIFA is possible in this formation. And in other formations, for example, if you take the 4-3-3-4, for example, this is an example of a formation where you can only play really one or two styles. This formation, really, you can bang through balls, you can play counter-attacks, but you couldn't play really defensive in this formation because it's quite an offensive formation. So the one thing about the 4-2-3-1 is you can play pretty much every style of FIFA very, very successfully, so you can adapt the formation on the fly. And that really speaks volumes in terms of tactics, because you can play, for example, this sort of tactic. You can play quite a balanced sort of setup. This is somebody, for example, who wants to play lots of possession, who doesn't want to really kind of play super fast. Like, this is the way that I like to play the 4-2-3-1 at the moment, because this is how I like to play. I like to play quite sort of possession orientated and just sort of build my attacks up slowly, and I don't want to rush. Now, that's one of the best ways I think to play in FIFA this year, is to kind of not necessarily just sort of bang through balls and chip through balls over the top. Whilst chip through balls are very, very effective and definitely a good way to score and an overpowered way to score, I personally like to always play how I want to play a formation. Now, in the 4-2-3-1, I like to play very possession based, so I like to play with balance on the defensive style, 50 on the width, 63, which is a bit of an odd number, so it's around about 65. I'm not sure why I had it exactly on 63. Build-up play on slow build-up. Now, this is one of the key ones where you can really change this. Now, the first three, I don't think I would really recommend changing. Again, it depends on the way you like to play. If you want to play, obviously, really high press, not something, that's one of the only things you maybe can't do in this formation, because it's not maybe the best formation to do that in. But something like fast build-up, you can play in this formation. Again, because there's that compactness in the formation, so you can play fast build-up, you can play long ball if you have pacey players up top. So you can play every style in this formation. And again, it comes back to why I think the 4-2-3-1 is the best for FUT Champions, because FUT Champs is all about adaptability. It's all about changing a formation on the fly to try and suit the situation. If you're comfortable and you're 2-0 up in a game, and you're playing on, for example, fast build-up, you're just going to want to hit pause and go, right, I'm 2-0 up. I don't want to be playing fast build-up now because I could leave myself open for a counter-attack. Now, all of a sudden, you can just drop to slow build-up. You can maybe drop your depth maybe back to 55. But you have that adaptability with this formation, whereas a lot of other formations, you don't have that adaptability. And in terms of chance creation, it's very, very much the same. If you're someone who maybe wants to play a little bit more aggressive and you maybe want to play on fast build-up and direct passing to try and get that 2-0, again, it works very well in this formation because that formation is quite compact, the 4-2-3-1. So you can play that direct passing, but you can still have some good solidarity in your defense. You know, you're still going to have a good defensive shape with the back four, with the 2 DMs. So the 4-2-3-1 really allows for lots of different play styles. If you want to play slow build-up and possession, if you want a possession whore, you can play in that way as well. You can maybe play a little bit wider if you want to get sort of those cams a little bit wider, just kind of stretch the pitch open a little bit more. Maybe you want to go a little bit narrower to play a little bit more tiki-taka, so then maybe you could again switch back to fast build-up but keep possession in the final third. So it just really allows for a lot of adaptability, this 4-2-3-1. And it's exactly the same when it goes to the instructions. Now, a lot of people obviously are going to like to maybe play the fullbacks on stay back while attacking. So that obviously that gives you that solid sort of foundation. But you can also play with those fullbacks on balance. If you like to play with those cams, for example, we have them on get into the box and free roam. So Hakimi on the right hand side, maybe you want to send him forwards. Maybe you want him on join the attack. Maybe you want him going all the way forwards and overlapping on the outside of Bernardo Silva. So if Silva's on the ball, he can drive on the inside. He can play it back to Hakimi. Hakimi can then run up the byline. He can chip one to the back post. He can maybe just look for a cutback to the penalty spot. So it just gives you lots of adaptability in this formation. In terms of the DMs, it's very much the same. I've played with these guys on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, which I'd imagine is probably the traditional way that a lot of people like to play with this formation, with these guys in that way. But you can also play with them on balance. Again, if you want to be a little bit more forward thinking, which I have tried this as well, because sometimes if you play with the fullbacks on stay back while attacking, with these guys on stay back as well, the 2 DMs, you can find that your formation can be a little bit, you can have 6 back, 4 guys going forwards, and it can be a little bit hard to sometimes connect that sort of defensive block you have and the front 4, and it can also be a little bit tricky to score goals because now you might only have 4 players trying to maybe break down 6, 7, 8 defenders and a goalkeeper, and you just don't have enough players going forward. So if you want to play quite offensively, you know, having the DMs on stay back while attacking isn't going to work. So the thing about the 4-2-3-1, as we've mentioned many, many times now, is it has that adaptability. So for me, if you're someone who is looking for a formation to use, if you're someone who is struggling in FUT Champs or just generally in FIFA, and you kind of, one thing I would advise is to not really hop between tactic to tactic. You know, I would advise generally to, if you're someone who is struggling, if you're someone who's not struggling, like for me, I like to change my formations because I like to try different things. I get bored using the same formation, so I like to try different things and just have fun on the game. If you're someone who's actually struggling, you can't find a set of tactics and instructions that work for you, I would always recommend going back to the 4-2-3-1. So if you're someone who's maybe tried a 4-2-2-2 and then you tried a 3-5-2 and then a 4-3-3-4 and then just nothing's working for you, I always personally use the 4-2-3-1 as my base. Like if I'm struggling and whatever, go back to the 4-2-3-1. It is the most solid and it's the most reliable formation in my opinion. I think it's very difficult to break down. It's very good to score chances. It's very good to have possession. As we mentioned this whole video, you can play a whole range of styles of play, and it just allows that for you. So if you're struggling in FIFA and you really want something that's going to work and be successful every time, I think the 4-2-3-1 gives you sort of a 7.5 out of 10 every game. So if you are struggling and you want the best formation you can in Champs, the most reliable formation in Champs, I would recommend the 4-2-3-1 is the way to go. Would I necessarily say it's the best formation in the game? That's up for debate. I personally wouldn't say it's the best formation in the game, but for FUT Champions, maybe it is the best one to go for, because of that adaptability that it has. But that is it for today's video, guys. So if you did enjoy, do drop a thumbs up. If you found something useful, do let me know down in the comment section. It would be much appreciated. Also, whilst you're down there, let us know if there's any other formations or videos you'd like us to cover, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. It really does help us out massively. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.